welcome everyone. This is the roundtable for the Canadian colleges and small universities. Some people may have jumped on. Okay, so for today, our agenda is we're going to do a quick little icebreaker. I did add in some animation, so I'm hoping they work with the slides. We're going to do a general check-in of everyone, just seeing how everyone's doing. We're going to talk a bit about the student lead-on, very quick blurb there, as well as the submitted topics that were submitted that we can collectively discuss on, and then finish off with talking about the NIRSA awards. It looks like, okay. Jen, did you get in? Possibly. Okay. Okay, so for the icebreaker, I'm actually going to just go to a normal screen so I can see all of your faces, but I figured we would do something a little bit fun. So what I want us to do is basically, it's a little treasure hunt in your own home. There are 3 things I'm going to ask you for, and you're going to have 30 seconds to go find something that reflects the category that I've chosen, and I want you to show it on your camera. So whether it's in your home or your office, and of course, stories are always welcome. So for example, if the subject is find an item that's blue, you could pick up a blue pen, for instance. Does that make sense to everyone? Oh no, you can see my thing here. Everyone? No? Okay. Let me get back. Okay. So you have 30 seconds to go find something that is yellow, and then you can turn on your cameras. Oh, Deanna, that was very quick. Same with Jen. Jen, oh, that's so cute. Ooh, M&M's is a good one. What else do we have? No, nothing else? Ooh, Catherine, I love Jodi Picoult. She's such a good writer. Angie, what is that?
It's moisturizer that I keep on my desk. It just happens to be yellow.
Perfect. I love it. All right, what else do we have? Melanie, is that a bookmark?
Yeah.
Love it. Banana. Rory, the level, I get it. Yeah, you just moved. I like it. All right, these are some pretty interesting ones, guys, and very quick. Love it. Okay, so the next one is something that you love. Love it, Angie. Honestly, if I was at home, I was going to pick up my dog. Or Jen, yep, your Chidlet. I love it. What's his name?
This is Nash.
Oh, hey, Nash. Deanna, is that a pic?
I did just go scoop my cat up, but he got away, so sorry.
Are we keeping the M&Ms because you love those as well? Rory, coffee. I like it. Melissa also has a dog. Anybody else? Deanna, what is that a picture of?
That's my son because I'm in his bedroom. It's the only place I can get my internet.
Hey, I totally get it. Love what you guys are putting forward. All right, and then the last one is something you can't live without. Is that coffee, Jen? I figured. Deanna, vitamins. We all need those right now, keeping us healthy and strong. Catherine, I get it. Phones.
Definitely.
Rory, I love seeing Gus. Melissa, shoes. Totally get it. Keeping active. Look at little Gus. Love it. All right, so that was just like a fun little icebreaker. I wanted to do something a little bit different than everyone doing the standard icebreaker that we normally see. For the most of you, I recognize, but let's also do a quick introduction of just who you are, what school you're from, and your position there. I'll call out your name so it's a little easier, and I'm just going to go by what I see on my screen. So I'm Courtney Godfrey. I work at Sheridan College, the Oakville campus, and I am a facility coordinator. I'm actually in my facility right now, which is awesome, due to COVID. And I also am the Small Colleges Provincial Director representative for NIRSA Canada. Okay, Angie, can you go ahead?
Yeah, my name's Angie Wood, and I'm the fitness coordinator for Durham College and Ontario Tech University. And I'm in my office as well because we opened on October 26th.
Awesome. Farah?
Hi, I'm from Georgia Brown, and I'm the athletics academic assistant.
Nice. Deanna?
Yep, Deanna Oliver, George Brown College, St. James campus, and I am an athletic coordinator.
Nice. And Jen?
I'm Jen O'Reilly. I'm the rec coordinator at Humber North. I have yet to be on campus since March, so who knows what the office there looks like.
Catherine?
Hi, everybody. I'm the interim athletic director at Okanagan College in Kelowna, and we're still working from home as well. We're allowed limited time on campus, but very limited. And they have to know when we're coming so they can send the cleaning crew in afterwards.
We're the same for Sheridan. I think we'll kind of get into that on one of our discussions later on where everyone's at. Let's see, Rory.
Hey everyone, I'm Rory Cooper. I work with Courtney at Sheridan, and I'm one of the recreation coordinators, but based out of the Brampton campus.
And Melissa.
My name is Melissa Souza, and I am with Seneca College at the Newnham campus, and I am the Senior Wellness Coordinator.
Awesome. Brian-COTR, because I think we have a couple Brians on the call.
Hi everybody, I'm Brian Millis. I'm from the College of the Rockies in Cranbrook, BC. I'm actually currently up in our weight room monitoring the facility as we have students working out right now. Yeah.
Awesome. Ben? Ben Anderson. There we go.
Sorry,
No
yeah, I'm
worries.
in the middle of a diaper change, my bad.
No worries.
Ben Anderson from Centennial College. I'm the campus recreation coordinator. I also do extramurals, and I've been redeployed to recruitment right now.
Interesting. Melanie.
Hi, I'm Melanie Jahanajwa. I'm the manager of athletics and recreation at George Brown College.
Awesome. Brian G.
You weren't going to try that?
I was not.
Well, as you can see from my background, I'm at the University of Alberta, so not a small college.
Welcome anyways.
Thank you. I'm here to listen in. Catherine, I was just in Vernon, drove back yesterday. So yes, I saw your small, I actually stopped at the small campus there to use the trash can. So yeah,
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I know. So thank you. So yeah, here to listen in and get an understanding what the small schools are up to. Our facilities have been open here in Edmonton. We were one of the first rec facilities to open. We have definitely had instances where our procedures have been very, very successful. And so I'm happy to contribute where I can and just listen.
Awesome, and it's much appreciated. And you're welcome for always coming in. Let's see, who do we have next? Mike.
Can you hear me?
We can.
That's been asked, what, a million times now since March, that question?
Yes, it has.
Yeah, sorry, I don't actually have my laptop, so no video, but yeah, my name's Mike Brain. I am a sport coordinator at Seneca College, and I usually do campus recreation and varsity as well. as well as some of the facility operations at our Seneca York campus. So that's where I normally call home. Yeah, that's about it.
Awesome. Kyra?
Hi, Kyra here from George Brown College. I'm the athletic therapy coordinator, working from home.
Awesome. Dylan?
Hi, my name is Dylan Kay. I'm the sport facility coordinator for Douglas College. We were open, but the college decided to close again as of Monday. So yeah, I'm currently in the office, but had to do a health check beforehand.
Okay, and I apologize for pronouncing your name wrong.
It's okay.
Michelle M. Michelle, do you want to unmute?
Am I unmuted? Oh, sorry.
Yep, there you go. No worries.
Good afternoon. I am the varsity coordinator at Sioux College, and we are in the office, myself and the fitness coordinator, not that any facilities are open or even being discussed to open. However, we're doing student cards in the meantime.
Okay. And Michelle H.
Sorry, I'm late to the party. What was the question?
Just introduce yourself. What's your position and what school?
Hi there, I'm Michelle Hamer. I'm from Seneca, and I'm the Senior Recreation Coordinator at one of the campuses. And I'm going to be in and out of this call because I've got other calls happening at the same time. So it's a multitasking kind of afternoon.
No worries. Thank you for joining and taking the time. Just so everyone is aware, we are recording the session. So if you do miss anything, it will be recorded and posted, as well as I can totally send out the PowerPoint that we have afterwards. All right, so let's get started. So in general, I just wanted to ask how all of you are doing. So feel free to have an open discussion, not necessarily work related, because I think a lot of the topics that we might bring up, we'll be talking about in the submitted topics, but just in general, how are you doing? How are you holding up? We haven't really had a colleges meeting since May, I think. So just wanted to see, you know, how did your summer finish out? How did your fall start? How are you doing? Anybody can jump on.
I can go first. It's Catherine at Okanagan College. I feel like the summer flew by. I don't really know where it went, and we just really had to get it together to plan virtual events. I'm sure that's what people were doing, canceled all of our big ones, obviously, face-to-face events. And the trickiest part, and still this fall, the trickiest part for us is still the student engagement piece. I'm sure that's going to come up. There's been a lot of feedback from students. We've done the telephone surveys that they're just a little tired of online stuff. So because schooling is online, they're not necessarily wanting to click online to do a virtual treasure hunt or we did a virtual escape room. We've done all kinds of virtual events. And while a few students come, not a lot of students come. So we keep throwing things at the wall to try and make things stick, and definitely get a little bit of engagement, but always trying to just get a bit more student engagement.
Anybody else? For me, doing well. I think COVID definitely really slowed down my mindset in my life in general, just because I'm so used to go, which I think a lot of us are. So that adjustment was very interesting for me, as well as we've just recently been allowed back on campus very sporadically, very conservative guidelines. So that's been definitely a change. And then I'm also a student, like a part-time student, and I feel what the students are going through, because learning finance over Zoom, yeah, Catherine, I see your face. I know you feel my pain. It's difficult. So it's definitely been a transition that I know now what the students are feeling. Anybody else want to kind of give how they're feeling, how they're doing, a general sense?
I was just going to add to that to say we're sort of running out of ideas because everything is online, and I feel like we've done so much. And so part of it is how do we continue that, like you said, I think having the engagement piece is the biggest thing. And how do we, knowing that everyone's dealing with the same thing, how do we re-engage students and come up with new ideas that we haven't already done? Because I feel like we've done a lot, successful or unsuccessful, we've done a lot. So where do we start again?
Hey, I'll jump in and add to that. Some of the folks at Seneca had reached out and asked if we could discuss like what kind of programs we were doing. And I said I'd be no help because I actually go to their site for what kind of things they're doing. So yeah, I feel like a little defeated that we're spinning our wheels trying to come up with so many different programs, unique programs, stuff that we think the students want. But a lot of the feedback that comes back is that they actually just don't want virtual programming. They don't want to be at their computer any more than they need to be. So while on one hand, we're being asked to generate all of these virtual opportunities, and on the other hand, the students are saying like, great, but we're not in.
Yeah, that's interesting that you say that, Jen. Sorry to interrupt, Courtney.
No, you're fine.
Because what we did reach out, there's 3 of us, we reached out to a variety of different people from colleges, universities all over the place. And there was very few responses, and there was some were like, we're doing nothing. A lot of them were, we've all been redeployed, or like you said, we just do what we're jumping on, we're piggybacking on what you're doing. So it is hard. And I think you're right. I think a lot of people don't want to do anything else online. They've had it. School is it. And there's no more time for anything else online, unfortunately.
I'm finding it interesting too. I know for sure we're doing the same thing, lots of stuff virtually, but since this is our 3rd week being open, I thought the students would be banging down the doors to get into our facility, but they're not. We have a cap of 30 max per booking session, which we have 4 sessions a day. We're open from 11 till 7. And we're seeing, especially the first week, like half to a third no-shows. So students are signing up but not coming. Open gym time opened last week. Yesterday when I looked down at one point, there was nobody there, 1 person there, 5 people there. So even though students we have a way to engage with them face-to-face and make eye contact with real people, they're not taking us up as much as I really thought they were. So I think there's almost for me a sense of apathy for everybody. Like I know I should do it. I know I want to come to the gym. I know it's open. We have all of our safety protocols listed. We bought an electrostatic sprayer. We're cleaning every half hour in between. But the appetite's not there. And so I don't think it's just motivation virtually. I think it's motivation overall.
Yeah, here at College of the Rockies, we've talked to a lot of students, and they're on Zoom for 6 to 8 hours a day, or on Teams, and then doing their classes online through Moodle or Cotter Online. And yeah, they just really don't have the time to do the virtual activities. We've seen a huge uptick in our weight room usage, which has been good, and we've been expanding our hours. Obviously, we're in a little different situation in the east corner of British Columbia, where there's not as many cases, but there's days where, we see a lot of students. Some days it's quiet.
Yeah, I think a lot of us are really seeing those same issues. And Angie, I completely understand where you're coming from, because like I said, we were recently allowed to open, and yes, Sheridan has placed very conservative guidelines. I know Rory can touch on this as well. Like right now, we're only allowing our gymnasium to be open with 4 students per area, so 4 students altogether, because I've split basically my 11,000 square foot gymnasium into 4 pods. We're only allowing 4 students per hour, and within additional restrictions within that. And we thought we would be seeing students from res, because we have some students on res, and we're just not seeing it. And it's just not like they know they want to get out, but I just think, again, it's to that point where they're kind of just over everything in general right now.
I think you have to wonder too about the convenience of it when they're studying on campus and where our facilities are in location. So you know, it would be easy to pop down and, you know, get a gym session in, a fitness center session, you know, head out to a dome, etc. And then now it's a little bit more of a commitment to have to, you know, when a class is done, maybe to travel onto campus. I think that that is probably one of the reasons as well, is that convenience of location from studying to where they're now recreating or exercising.
I completely agree. And that's why we, when we first reopened, our target, and our target still is actually students on campus in residence. So they're they're on campus. It's probably 500 feet from our building. So it's unfortunate. And originally we were actually going to open the same system at our Brampton campus as well, but with Peel's numbers being so high, we had to shut that down. And because the campus I'm at right now, which is Oakville, Halton region, we're good with our numbers according to the Ontario government. That's how we've allowed to remain open. So it's just very interesting overall on that perspective. Anybody else want to deep dive or tell us how they're doing? If not, we can totally move on. All right, let's head on to the next slide, which is the student lead on. So I wanted to quickly touch base with all of you on the student lead on. Basically, the really cool thing about the student lead on this year is, because it's virtual, silver lining, that's what I'm kind of thinking it as, is we've actually have connected with 2 regions in the States, so Region 5 and Region 6. And so this year it is completely free for all students to register, which is another great thing. As well as our goal this year was to really make it student focused. So oftentimes some of our student lead-ons, I still find that they're not necessarily geared toward professional staff, but it's not necessarily applicable to the students at that time. So this year, for example, some of the proposals that we have coming in are marketing and branding yourself for life after school, working on your resume, tips and tricks, leading yourself, leading others. So it's still applicable while they're in school, but it's also things that they can take outside that's really, really going to be beneficial for the students. So I really just wanted to let you guys know that deadlines, if you're thinking of submitting something or you have students that would like to submit something, please let them know that the proposals are due this Friday by 3 o'clock. And even if they don't want to submit a proposal and present, they should still definitely register, because there are going to be some amazing sessions that I think they could really hone in on and really have student development from. Additionally, from a Canadian perspective, our keynote for this student lead on is actually Barry Wright, who is the current CEO of the Canada Games, previously 2021, but now it's 2022 due to COVID. The great thing is Barry has extensive experience in leadership. He's also a professor in leadership. So he will be speaking on how to lead yourself and then how to lead others, as well as touching on the Canada Games. So if any of your students are looking to volunteer or anything, it would be a great thing for them to really jump in on the session and understand it a bit more, because it's a great opportunity for them to build. Because especially being in Canada, as much as we love our rec life, we don't have as many schools as the state. So it's ultimately, we want them to also take the skills that we've helped them develop in the rec setting and apply them elsewhere. So this is a great opportunity for them. Does anyone have any questions or want to talk about the student lead on or anything else? No questions? Okay, let's move on. Okay, so here is one of our submitted topics, which was esports. So I know Jen has been working so hard and so amazing for OCR on this. And there's just, you know, been some kind of questions that we're all looking at each other's social media and what they're doing. And this is where we can collectively come together and really pick each other's brains on this. So a couple of the questions that were posed were, are you running esports programs? How is it going? Are you having success? Who's running the programs? Is there a fee? Is it live stream? What do you call your esports program? So let's kind of chat and look on this. Who right now is running any esports programs?
It's Catherine. We're not running any of our own, but we did promote the CCAA Esports tournament to our students, and 3 students did sign up for it. And actually, they announced the playoffs, and 2 of our students are in the playoffs, which is kind of cool. We've been talking for a long time about an esports program. Well, I say long time, basically since the summer, with some other, you know, to get students engaged another way online. And we do have the support of the school, but they sort of wanted us to test the waters first to see the kind of interest we'd get. So we signed up, Okanagan College joined that CCAA tournament, had 3 students register, which we thought was quite good, actually 3. And we're gonna kind of see how that plays out, what kind of response we get, and then maybe put some money into a bit of an esports program of our own, but it's still a little bit vague. But I know that they're huge in the States and great for students to do who like to game.
Oh, very, very big in the States. And like I mentioned, Jenna, who's on this call, has been really putting together a lot of work for OCR. So it's definitely something that she's very good with. Additionally, I'll just do a side plug here. If you're looking to build that program, Megan Locker from Brock University is actually hosting a roundtable next week, November 19th, on intramurals and esports. So if you're looking for more information to help with that, that's a good call to jump on as well.
Great.
Anyone else running esports? How is it going? Are you running into any problems? What are we seeing?
I can just jump in and say we're also in the FIFA tournament for CCAA. We had 5 students register, so we thought that was pretty good too. 4 out of the 5 are in the playoffs, so that's good as of this morning. The OCR tournaments, so we hosted basketball for Xbox and PlayStation. Originally, there was 22 students who had registered within their school's department, but when they changed from registering within their department to actually doing the online registration, we lost half of them. So we only had 13 people actually complete the registration. After the first 3 weeks, we're down to about 6 people playing now.
Why do you think that was?
Discord. Apparently that's the place to chat with your esports participants, and we are not on Discord.
Okay.
So the email communication doesn't work. So for those who are considering going the esports route, start looking at Discord, figuring out how you can communicate through that. I'm just starting with that now, but I think the communication breakdown via email is really what hurt the OCR tournament. And yeah, currently we're not live streaming, we're not charging for any of the programs. We have an esports program on site that's run by our academics, so we're not even calling it esports, we're calling it gaming, just to distinguish between the two. Yeah, I was just wondering what across the country, if anybody else was having, you know, are you collaborating with your esports groups on campus? Is there conflict? Or have you been asked to use a different title? Are you more exhausted running esports than you would have been with in-person sports? Because for me, it's been a huge learning curve. Yeah, I got into recreational program because I'm not very techie, and it seems that esports is very techie.
Yeah, I'll just add, when we were doing the research, we did get in touch with there is a little bit of a gaming community at the college, and we definitely are leaning on them for the technical side of things.
Right.
At Sheridan, we were having a bit more success in the summer with our esports, and these were like sports-based ones, like soccer, basketball, hockey. It's really the buy-in the past month or two has been a lot lower, and we were actually planning to run a different tournament every 2 weeks, just as a way to engage during the school year. But then after like the first two, we just scrapped that, and we might try one during the Christmas break. We really don't know how that's going to go either. But since school started, it has not been quite as popular in terms of getting out the numbers. I think there was one tournament in the summer, we got 16 people registered. But then, like what Jen said, communication is kind of tough. You can download an app for PlayStation Network to your phone. You can make a group there, I found out recently, which works out pretty well because it's also the messages they would get on their PlayStation. And then you're adding people as a friend so they can play them online. They have their name right there. So it makes it a little bit easier in that sense. But yes, Discord is the popular gaming one, I found out too. But yeah, it was running better. And then since school started, interest has been much less for it.
Anyone else running programs or collaborating with another department on campus for specifically esports gaming? Anyone successful at it, or are they kind of seeing their numbers dwindle like a lot of us are? Okay, looks like we've said it all for esports. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Here at the U of A, we've talked about it forever, and at a varsity level, it certainly doesn't exist. So through the CCAA, does it have the same stature as the Canadian Colleges Athletic Association Badminton Tournament Championships? My question is are the numbers small because the brand isn't there yet?
Rory, do you want to jump in on this from a varsity perspective, considering you have a little bit more experience with that?
For that CCAA tournament, I think there's been more than one. It's not run as like a varsity thing. It was just a recreational opportunity that they spread out to all Canadian colleges. So yeah, definitely the brand isn't there. Sorry.
They actually changed the name from it being a national championship to being a gaming challenge. So they actually completely changed the name.
Okay. Our clubs, we've been, I'm going to say our department's missed the boat a couple of times. We aren't the de facto dodgeball experts on campus, which bothers me a little bit. Our residents group ended up being the dodgeball champions. And so we don't want to get left behind with the esport thing or trend. I'd be interested to see how we could develop this into something that is recreational, but then aspirational as well.
So Brian, just to confirm, what I'm getting from what you're kind of asking or talking about is not necessarily just these virtual tournaments we're talking about, but actually at a varsity, if not club sport level.
Right, because
okay.
Why would I join the university or the college team when there's some brand that the four of us can join that I could win $500 if I'm any good?
So that's why Rory had to ask you, because I know it's been a topic of conversation that our athletic director is not a fan of at all for actually creating a varsity. Rory's laughing. It's been brought to our attention to become a varsity or a club sport. Like, students have asked us, and so especially with the way Sheridan College is set up, we actually have a game design program. So we do have some very, very serious gamers on campus, and they have approached us. It is not something that we ever want to do, or, especially make it a varsity sport. And that would definitely have to still come from OCAA for that aspect. From my experience when I worked in the States, because in the States I actually did intramurals and club sports, we were the first school in Texas to actually make it a club sport with all the official documents, and they actually competed in those tournaments where they got paid money, and it was very, very big. So that was something that we did in the States. I just don't know if it's something we're ready to do here.
Well, yeah, I sigh because recreation isn't just for those who want to run. And the social connections that our dean's quite strong about, he's done a number of research projects and papers, and in summary, what comes first, exercise or social? And ultimately, exercise or participation comes with social, because we aren't very good at doing things on our own. We need some support. I bring that in because I walked into my nephew's house, and who are you talking to? Well, of course, there's people he's gaming with. And so the social atmosphere is there. So I don't know why we are worried about making this more of core of our programs. One thing that we're trying to do is make sure we're very relevant on our campus, because we're facing some pretty huge budget cuts. So if we're not relevant, what's the point? No, I'd like to try to make the argument that esports helps to make us relevant with a broader population on campus.
Yeah, I see both sides. I think from a varsity, or even a, whether you're calling it extramural or club sport, I know everyone calls it kind of different. I think from the perspective of a lot of people that are very, sports are active, not necessarily thumb movement. It's one of those things. If you're a varsity athlete, there's certain requirements you have for practice, for everything to meet that, the team guidelines, as well as even if you're getting scholarship money. So realistically, how would it be fair if, you have to practice 45 hours a week or whatever it is for a varsity team? What's that look like in an esports perspective? So I think that's also where a lot of people are disconnect, because we promote wellness. So we're promoting getting up, getting active movement, but then we also have a team that the movement is mainly in their thumbs. Yes, I'm sure they get up and get active, but from what we see as a society, we see them just sitting in front of a screen. We tell people, with COVID going on, get away from your screen, where if we were to, after COVID, create a club or a varsity sport team, we're now promoting against what we're promoting originally. So I think that's a lot of disconnect from those in those roles.
Voting against what we're promoting.
So then what was the argument in Texas?
They came to us, they hit all the guidelines, they wanted it. We also had well over 100 clubs for just sporting clubs. We had a bass fishing club, we had a ton. Again, you have to understand that Canadian and states are very, very different. As much as we don't like to admit it, they are. We didn't necessarily agree with it as the coordinators and the associate director, but when they hit all our marks, they wanted to represent Sam Houston State University at gaming. So, and they wanted to be considered like a club team, because they were previously under the student union and they didn't like it. They wanted to be considered rec/varsity.
Yeah. So that was, some of those thoughts went through my head. So anything that's deemed high risk and anything that involves movement comes to our department. So dance is part of our club program, but the student union also has student group services. So this group could easily go through them probably, and might be a good first step on our campus. We just hate to be left behind. And this discussion's been going on for years, as soon as eSport came up. So, man, we are doing a lot of churning. I'd be interested to see somebody who puts their neck or any other proverbial body part on the line and tries to move this forward.
And that's the thing. I don't know if anyone at this point wants to be the first. I think it's a very gray, fine line that a lot of departments are kind of flirting with for it.
There are a number of Ontario schools participating in the OPSE, which is a development league started at Carleton University. There are a number of Ontario schools participating as varsity programs in that, and they're actually, it looks like it's going very well with their marketing and the sharing of results and their streaming and everything. So there are some schools that have jumped on it now.
And there's so many different perspectives. When we brought this up to our upper management, they just wanted to know, what's it going to cost? What's the travel? You know, what are the risks? And our department thinks, well, we're a recreational department, so that is movement, but we also want to engage students. And I was reading about, and again, this is huge in the States, but I was reading about, there are some gamers in the States who have personal trainers because they are working with those slow twitch muscle fibers and coordination, engagement, mental health. It's fascinating. So I feel like we're a long way from there, but we can get there. Just everybody has to be on the same page. Our little Gamers Club has hundreds of members that now are no longer Okanagan College students, so we can't really bring them back to work with us, but we can definitely pick on them for some of their knowledge. But yeah, I think it depends, you know, has everybody got your back? Have you got the support? I know our management people just want to know, what is it going to cost? And it's a bit of an uphill battle from there, because we too are facing budget cuts big time in our department.
Yeah, I would definitely suggest, Brian, if you're interested in more, definitely jump on that esports call next week, because you'll have more people that are specifically doing esports and intramurals, and from that perspective, whether it's pre-COVID, during COVID, or after. So I think that that's a call that you should probably get on for additional information, and then also reach out to those that kind of piped up today and really had to say, because they've done a lot of research in it. Awesome. Anyone else on esports, or can we kind of move on? I just want to keep us on track on time and don't keep us forever. As much as I love seeing everybody's face, I know they probably don't want to sit on a computer screen forever. All right, let's move on. Okay, so another couple of things that we can touch on. Fees. Did your school charge fees this past semester? Were they discounted? What's it look like going into winter semester? Staffing, student and full-time. Does anyone have staff, whether it's full-time student staff or full-time professional staff at full capacity? I know a lot of us are being kind of redeployed to other departments. Has anyone experienced layoffs? Is your staffing remote? Is it on campus? I know a lot of us were saying that we're on campus for some days of the week, some not, because they're trying to limit that interaction. So we all just collectively wanted to hear where each college is at in that aspect. So I know for Sheridan, we're all remote. We are randomly on campus working the front desk of that opening of the facility. Some of us have more shifts than other on campus just due to other things that we're working on. A lot of us have been doing other projects that we wouldn't normally be doing, or working with other departments, not necessarily that we're redeployed, but just really, you know, showing that what we can do from an athletics and recreation department and where we can help out. That's kind of where we're at for Sheridan. That's really about it. We did not charge a fee this semester, so we took in no student fees at all. Sheridan told us that they are trying their very best to not lay off anybody. I believe they said they would reassess things in winter. So again, making ourselves look busy and help out with other departments in other areas, especially since with us not having our full student staff on, or student or varsity teams and everything, you can definitely see that. And I know a lot of us are probably experiencing that. I believe we are potentially looking at fees for winter, and I don't think that they fully have settled on that though. So anybody else?
we did charge an activity fee. It's $15 or $17, and the few students that called us on it, we did say we're still providing lots of virtual events with great prizing opportunities. We were still giving away great gift cards, iPads, Fitbits, and we have done a few face-to-face activities. We've done a hike, and we've done a rope swinging day, and what else? Oh, we went kayaking. So we were able to say, you know, we are spending money on some things for you, but just a lot of it is virtual. And then that seemed to be okay. No layoffs in our department. And as far as I know, nothing at the college. I know they've worked hard, non-salary budget cuts, basically.
Yeah.
And as you say, we're on campus. We're allowed to go on campus for limited times, but there is a team that has to know that we're there and what our time frame is, because they are cleaning after we leave.
Same here. We have to do a check-in, screening process, everything.
Yeah.
That's awesome that you guys were able to offer like the kayak and everything. Helps when you're not in the Greater Toronto area and have that option.
We did have to do a risk assessment, but we got approved.
Awesome. Anybody else?
I was gonna say we have at one of our other campuses, somebody in full-time in fitness has been furloughed, so that made it really hard for us when we reopened because we weren't granted any work study positions. So, and they weren't hiring any contract positions back. So fortunately, some of my colleagues who had hired students to work virtually for them had lent me some students that could work physically on campus to open the gym. So that's been our challenge, is that we're not bringing anybody back on contract, and it's only work study. So we have students working in the gym. All 3 students that are here right now have never worked here before, except for the last couple of weeks. So that's been a bit of a learning curve for everybody. But yeah, hopefully that gets better as we get going. We were just approved to do 1 fitness class in our campus field house, so that's where the turf is, the bubble. To do 1 fitness class, obviously with physical distancing. So we were able to bring back 2 instructors to start doing those once per week, and hopefully continue that and maybe grow that a little bit. But in terms of staffing, just in terms of fitness, it's just me and then some students that we borrowed from other places, which is, yeah, interesting.
Oh, I'm still muted. Anybody else? That's really great, Angie.
I can jump in there. So I'm Jen, I'm at Humber in Toronto. So we haven't had any staff be redeployed or laid off at this point, but we've also not hired any work study students, no student staff, so no internships. Nothing is being offered. So as our facilities open here and there and closed here and there, it's the same group of facility people that are running. And then most of the program coordinators are working from home. So there's not a lot of connection there. And most of us, like I haven't been on campus since March. So it's been tough, but we're all still working and in our roles and just, again, trying to stay relevant.
I completely understand. And I think we're all like that. So we actually were able to hire work study. So we do have some students working remote for our marketing side. When we reopened my building on the super conservative guidelines, we originally were approved for work study, but then our leadership came back and said no student workers on campus. So we do have some on work study, but they are just doing remote marketing for us. So to be honest, a lot of the stuff you see up on our social media for the Sheridan Bruins, we've done a lot of Double Blue Project, and we've actually been quite successful on and gotten some great feedback on what we've been putting out to our public was actually done by a lot of our marketing students, which is awesome to still get them involved and get them that experience.
The only other student help that I can think of that we have, Courtney, is we have our recreation councils that aren't paid by a work study or anything. They're under a scholarship opportunity that reflects the same as the varsity. So I do have 2 students who work with me under that scholarship opportunity. And I know our other recreation coordinator has a few more. So those are the only staffing differences we may have.
Awesome. And just for those that aren't aware of Ontario, as Jen kind of mentioned, some of our Humber's campuses are closing and opening, and that's because where they're placed in the GTA or in Toronto, our numbers keep going up and down. So now Ontario is going off a color system. So like I had mentioned previous, Halton, which is where my college is, we're okay for now. I know Durham's doing great with their numbers, so they're allowed to be open. But for example, our other campus in Peel region is completely closed. I think they just said for another 4 weeks, Peel and like Toronto are closed for gyms and all those extra restrictions, just to kind of give you guys an idea that, and I'm sure you're facing this on a daily basis from your government as well, like from your provinces as well. It's day to day, you may be open, you may be closed type deal. So it's definitely tough on, I think, us as well as the students. Anybody else want to kind of touch base on this? If not, we can head on to the next topic.
I just wanted to mention that at Seneca, most of we're pretty much in line there with staffing, some being redeployed, some not. Most of our programmers and or coordinators are at home. We only have about 3 that are still in full 100% capacity within the athletics and recreation department. And a lot of them are doing like 50-50 with other areas of the college. So we don't have any students working for us. And also for our fitness classes, which I would say that remotely in regards to programming have probably been the most popular. We've had to take on as full-time staff. So anybody that was certified within our full-time staff complement, we had to program it and also be the instructor, because the college was not allowing us to hire any of our fitness instructors back at this time. So that was a little twist, made it difficult to, I guess, just be the programmer and the one that was trying to run the actual program at the same time. We've had just very, very busy, I guess, for our staff. And again, not having our recreation councils that we typically have that we would lean on for marketing. We've all had to take that on. And as we all know, Instagram and Facebook have been, really, we've been heavy in it, and we just don't have our students to help out with that. So it's just been very hectic, I would say, for our staff.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's our next topic, programming.
Oh.
Perfect lead in there. Love it, Melissa. Thank you.
Yeah.
So that kind of ties very nicely into the next topic. And I know we've kind of talked on this a little bit prior. It's what is the interest? We're kind of hitting that wall where, we're all kind of doing our own thing, but also kind of piggybacking off what others are doing. So are you still running programs? How? Is it in person, virtual? Have you experienced a drop in interest? Is there a fee involved? Are the expectations reasonable from potentially the students or your leadership or your manager or your athletic director? Are you getting that support from everyone, your manager, school's leadership? Are our programs being repeated from other areas of your school, or are you collaborating, for example, with the student union? So open floor.
I can comment on that. We definitely are running programs, and we're sort of, as I said at the beginning, throwing as much stuff at the wall as we can to see what sticks. Okanagan College has 4 campuses. The one in Kelowna is the biggest, but a couple of months ago we decided to make our events, the virtual ones, good for all campuses. So I think that's helped pull in some of a couple of the more remote campuses to get students engaged that way. We also found that putting some of our programming at night with trivia, bingo, that kind of thing really helped, because obviously students are home, helped a little bit. We don't charge a fee for the online stuff, but we did charge a little bit of a fee for a couple of our off-campus events, because we find that if students pay a bit of money, they show up. So that's good for engagement. And yes, everybody is very supportive. We do work with our student union and other departments around the campus. So we're just going to keep doing what we've been doing and see how it goes in the winter.
Awesome. Now, are you finding that running your programming through, whether it's Zoom, Teams, Instagram, Facebook, what's the best avenue that you're being able to reach these students?
Well, definitely social media is good. We have Facebook and Instagram pages where we throw out a challenge, say pumpkin carving or Halloween costume, or, you know, we do a little scavenger hunt challenge on social media. That seems to be the easiest way to engage students because they can do that from the couch. With the Zoom, it started off in the fall quite engaged. We've noticed a bit of a drop, but I think it's because of the reasons people talked about today. People are just fed up, you know?
Yeah.
And I think not being on campus and engaging face-to-face with students to say, hey, you know what we're doing tonight? You know what we're doing this weekend? And having them go, oh yeah, I'll sign up and come kayaking. That makes a huge difference when you're not looking them in the eye. I think throwing up a little ad online is great, but it's definitely not as encouraging or as engaging. So social media is definitely is number one, but Zoom is what we're using to physically talk to people.
Yeah. Anyone else? Maybe someone we haven't heard from.
I just have a question. I'm just curious, the people that are running programs, I know this was one of the questions that we were asking people and trying to get feedback from. What time of day works best for students when you are running programs?
I can jump in on that. So I'm actually not running any programs, but I've done a couple social media surveys just to say, hey, if we were to run this, what time works best for you? Students want evenings, and being at home with a toddler, that doesn't work for me in the evening. So that's another reason that's stopping us from doing any evening programs. It's hard to be at home with a child and program at the time that students want their programming. So for that reason, we're actually not running anything.
A lot of the programs that we've been running, and Rory can definitely touch more onto this because he's part of that committee within our department as the rec coordinator. I've actually done a couple of our virtual videos, and they're oftentimes at lunch, which to me, like for my work schedule, it kind of breaks up my day, where I could see for a student that's in class that has a block schedule like how we schedule at Sheridan, it might be difficult if they don't get that 12 o'clock. The good thing is a lot of the times they can be recorded and they can be put up at other times. But Rory can definitely touch on more on that.
Yeah, so we've tried to focus on providing programming that can be done at their convenience, so they can reflect back on the video. So they lose that live session of it, but we felt because they had so many live lectures, and as you all alluded to before, the option for them to choose when to participate has definitely helped in terms of our engagement. It's a little bit more difficult to measure as well, but you can see the number of views on something. As well as social media is great, but we've had our most successes when we've targeted something on our academic learning platform. So for us, it's called Sleep. And when we did a video about cricket, and we targeted the international students on their virtual community on Sleep, and that's the most responses I've received since this whole pandemic about any topic, with students asking questions about that. So targeting a certain program or a certain group of students that have a virtual community through your academic platforms has been probably the most successful in terms of like more intense engagement. Sure, we get a like on a picture or something, but you don't know if they're actually interested or want to participate. But we try and make everything available afterwards on a Facebook video or a YouTube video.
One thing that, if you're not sure what Slate is, your school could be using Blackboard, Ccaa. It's just that online platform. Sheridan just happens to have Slate. One thing that from a NIRSA perspective, if you're not aware of, or if you're hitting a wall for running videos, or I know that one of us mentioned, Melissa mentioned, you know, you're programming and you're also being an instructor, it's really difficult. So NIRSA, like the committee that represents the Canadian region, we created basically like a rec channel. It's on YouTube. It has videos from every school that's being uploaded. I can share that link with you guys. So that way, if you're running into things or you want to share those videos, they're already done. It's from universities and colleges that have submitted work. It's easy to access. It's on YouTube. It's available. So feel free to utilize those resources as well. Anyone else on programming, what they're seeing, what they're not seeing? Are your expectations reasonable?
A little bit unrelated, but in terms of programming, I find it helpful to go visit health promotion campaigns. That's like participation, heart and stroke. Then even like, I don't know what it is for outside of Ontario, but your respective family health teams. So if you just look at the Halton or Peel family health team, that's where I go for some of our content. And then I mostly just take it. I'm not an expert on this stuff, so I cite them.
Anybody else? Okay, I'm going to move on. Is there anything that we missed in terms of the topic? I think we've covered quite a lot. I think a lot of us are seeing the same things as each other. I don't think there's anybody right now who's really reinventing the wheel. I definitely would recommend, if you have access to your school's social media, whether it's Instagram or Facebook. Instagram is probably the better one. Follow the other schools that aren't necessarily in your province, but out of your province, whether it's university or college. So that way we can hype each other up. We can share each other's posts, because realistically, we're all in this together. So is there anything that someone, it's kind of a light bulb has gone off throughout this conversation that you guys want to quickly discuss? Now's your time.
I did just wonder, for people who are doing programming or thinking about it for January, if anyone's pushing any activities outside. We're just trying to think of things for January, like a snowball fight or snowman contest. And I wondered if anybody had thought about that kind of stuff to engage students outside.
It's funny you mentioned a snowman, because I actually was talking to our information and marketing coordinator. So for Sheridan, our department is both varsity athletics and rec, so she does everything. And we were talking about like things we could do in especially December, what we could push out for prize packs. And for some reason, that song Partridge in a Pear Tree kept coming to my head. And I was like, well, why don't we do something with 12 Days of Christmas, where we put something up where maybe one of the challenges is go build a snowman outside. So trying different things like that, I think might work. Obviously we can't go run 6 kilometers outside, because it could be 10 feet of snow. Granted, it's been 20 degrees here for the past couple of days, so it's been beautiful. But yeah, we were talking about like building a snowman, and I even said like you could realistically even build a snowman inside, get some toilet paper or something, snap a photo, something like that. So I think you'll see a lot of those kind of ideas pop up. I think we're still working on like those specific giveaways, but right now I don't think we have anything specifically planned for outside over the winter. Do we, Roar?
No, we don't have anything like that planned yet, but I have seen that other schools have been doing in-person events. St. Clair has almost full practices. Lambton College also has a full range of outdoor activities, like cornhole, I think it's soccer, dodgeball, stuff like that.
So at College of the Rockies, we're looking to do snowshoeing and cross-country skiing in January, February, as we do rentals for the community. So we're not allowing any community members on campus. So we're gonna take those skis and snowshoes and actually do some student events outside.
That's awesome. I'm jealous. We don't get that. No? Okay. Last thing I want to mention, and then I will let all of you go. Sorry for keeping you over the hour, but I love talking to all of you, and I think it's awesome that we can connect all over Canada. But one thing that a lot of us may not know about, because NIRSA is sometimes this foreign concept to a lot of us, especially in Canada, but NIRSA actually does awards every year. And so the award nominations are due on November 16th. And actually, Jordan Robinson, who works for Centennial College, not on this call right now, was a recipient last year. And basically, I would love for anyone or everyone actually to nominate someone. And there's different awards and requirements, and I can link the website for you guys. That you can nominate people for, whether it's excellence in engaging students, you know, from a facility perspective, there's awards for that. Someone who's giving their time and going above and beyond. Let's, you know, it's tough times for everyone. Let's recognize all the hard work we're putting in, because we've really had to all go above and beyond our normal life because of COVID. So if you feel that someone has just been amazing in your department or a fellow coworker at another school, nominate them, guys. Let's give them the credit that they deserve. So if you can think of anyone, awesome. If you can't, it's okay, but definitely check out those awards and the descriptions, just because it might kind of resonate and be like, you know what, Rory was really good at this past year. Let's submit him for a nomination. And it's just the credit that they deserve. So I just wanted to do that little plug there for you guys. Anyone have questions on NIRSA awards? No? Okay. With that being said, I just want to say thank you guys all for taking the time out of your busy days to jump on a call and just really discuss things and go over things with each other. So at that point, does anyone have any questions, comments, or anything before we sign off? No? Maybe? Okay, I'll take that as a no. So thank you everyone for joining. I hope all of you stay safe, healthy, happy. Thanks, Angie. All of you keep in touch. And if you want this PowerPoint, there's not really much on it. Feel free to email me. If you're looking for those links like I talked about, let me know. I can send them to you, but you can also search the NIRSA website. I would love to definitely, again, do those plugs for the student lead on. Please pass that info on to your students, because even if they're not rec specific, like I said, I actually reached out to both Humber and Durham profs that teach in their sports program. I think it's a really good avenue for students to get involved and really develop. So please, please push it out, because I think that's how we are going to grow as a Canadian region as well. With that being said, thank you guys. Enjoy the rest of your day.